I'd like to call the May 10th, 2016 meeting of the Milledgeville City Council to order. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Walden,
Here.
Ms. Shinholster,
Here.
Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Mr. Mullins,
Here.
Mr. Chambers,
Here.
Dr. Lee.
Here.
We have a quorum. I'll ask everyone to join me as we stand for the prayer and the pledge. Lord, you have entrusted us as stewards of this community. We seek you first in all that we do. Please guide our hearts as we make our decisions. Fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Build in us a deep respect for one another so that your will may be done. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You've all received copies of the minutes of the April 26, 2016 regular council meeting. Are there any corrections? Do I hear a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mr. Mullins,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Dr. Lee.
Aye.
Thank you. We don't have any old business on the agenda tonight. We'll move directly into new business. Our first order of business tonight will be an audit presentation from Meredith Lipsum of Malden and Jenkins. Ms. Lipsum?
Pass out our kind of summary of our presentation. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you all to present the fiscal year 2015 audit. The audit was completed actually earlier than most governments, thank goodness, and filed with the State Department of Audits by their December 31st deadline. You've been given, I believe, a copy of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And then I just passed out to you all what we refer to as our auditor's discussion and analysis. And the reason we hand out this auditor's discussion and analysis is it's kind of a summary of my presentation, and it also includes some information that we as auditors are required to communicate to you all under the standards that guide us. And rather than us standing up here for 20, 30 minutes and going through all of that, just basic things like about accounting policies and management estimates and things like that, we choose to put it in this document that you can have and keep and refer to if necessary, and that way you all can get on with your business. As far as the fiscal year 2015 audit, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, I think y'all's has like a green cover to it. Our audit opinion can be found on pages 1 through 4. We did issue an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion, the opinion that you all want to get. As always, the financial statements are the responsibility of management, and our responsibility is to express an opinion based on those audit procedures. There is a paragraph included in the opinion this year on page 2. It says emphasis of matter. This is only included when there's significant audit standards that are required to be adopted and are adopted in that year. As many of you all are aware, the city, as well as all other governments, were required to adopt GASB 68 during the fiscal year 2015, which required all governments to put their net pension liability on their in their financial report. And so that was done in fiscal year 2015, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what that meant for you all. But again, it was an unmodified, clean opinion. As far as the CAFR itself, it's a big document. It is every year. It includes a lot of information. You all go above and beyond what's required by the state, and that's why you all, for I think 2015 was the 30th consecutive year that the city has received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from GFOA. And it's because you all pull together a lot of statistical information, a lot of charts and graphs, things that are not required by the state but are really good tools for management and for their your citizens to look at and to understand the finances of the city. So congratulations to you all. 30 years, that's a long time. But like I said, it is a big document. If you don't have time to go through all of it, or you're not interested in going through all of it, I always recommend to focus on the management's discussion and analysis, which follows our audit opinion. It's pages, I believe, 5 through 15. This is written by management, is not written by us. We do make sure that the financial information included in it is consistent with our financial statements, but it gives a really good synopsis of the financial activity and results for the year. It explains some of the variances as compared to the previous year, and also looks forward as to the next year's budget and thing that may be happening in the economy that could affect the city going into the future. So again, it's a very good synopsis written by management, and again, if you don't have time to read everything, that's a good thing to read to give you a good idea about the finances. One of the schedules that began being required some years ago is the statement of net position, and that can be found, sorry, I'm flipping through. That can be found on pages 16 through 18. This statement takes all of the government's activities and it puts them into two classifications, governmental and business type. Governmental is mainly your general fund and your SPLOST fund. Those are the two biggest pieces there. And then your business type activities are mainly your water and sewer and solid waste funds. But one thing I wanted to point out, as I did mention, GASB 68 came into play this year. And you'll see on page 17 towards the bottom, one of the last items before total liabilities is the net pension liability. This is the amount in excess of what you all have in your pension trust fund as a liability for that pension plan. The total is about $4.3 million. The large majority of it is in your governmental activities, but some of it has been assigned to business type because you do have employees in your water and sewer solid waste funds. But that really is the significant change this year. Everything else that you see in these statements is very similar to what you've seen in the past as far as the format. This is just a little different. Well, it's not a little different. It's a big difference. You all are approximately, that number, approximately 79% funded, which is good. There's quite a few governments that are not as their plans are not as funded as yours. There are some that are better funded. We are putting together right now a spreadsheet with all of our clients where you can see, we don't have the names by them, but you can see different cities, counties, state governmental entities, and the percentage that they are funded to kind of give you an idea where you stand. And as soon as we've got that finalized, I will forward it on to Brenda and Shay and to get to you all so that you'll kind of know where you all are in the process as far as that pension liability goes. As I mentioned, other than that, the statements are very similar to what you've seen in the past. The general fund is always one of the things that people are most concerned with because that's the heart and soul of your operations. If you turn to page 20 and 21, you'll see that your two major funds, your general fund and your SPLOST fund, you all had about $3.8 million in your general fund in assets, and total liabilities of approximately $324,000 with a fund balance of $3.4 million at June 30th, 2015. And of course, as we've talked about in the past, that's not all cash on hand available to be spent. A good portion of it is cash, and you all are fortunate in that respect. But that money had to carry you from June until you started collecting your property taxes in the fall, because that's your primary source of revenues. You all did have an increase in your fund balance. You can see that on page 23. Your general fund balance of about $758,000 for 2015. Your SPLOST fund, of course, all the monies that come in there are earmarked for capital projects. And that fund, for a while, the money is coming in, and then as you're spending it, it's going down, and eventually, unless hopefully gets renewed, it goes away, until you have another SPLOST that comes in. So really everything there is earmarked for specific purposes, just as the third column you see on those pages, other governmental funds. Those are all very small little grant-related type funds where any revenues that come in are earmarked for certain projects, cannot be used for general operations. As far as your business type funds, the water and sewer and your solid waste fund, the financial information for those two begin on page 28 with the balance sheet. And the income statement portion is on pages 31 and 32. Both of those funds ended the year with positive change or an increase in the net position or equity. The water and sewer fund had about a $6 million increase. And your solid waste fund had a $188,000 increase. And with the water and sewer fund, that $6 million increase was after you all had transferred about $1.9 million to your general fund to cover some ongoing operations. And that's typical. There's a lot of governments that have their enterprise funds that supplement some of the general fund operations so that you all can continue to provide the services that the citizens want and need. The rest of the comprehensive annual financial report is really made up of footnotes and a lot of detailed information. Similar format as in the prior year. There is some additional information with regards to the pension plan, a lot of new footnotes that are required to be included that give you really detailed information about that pension plan. But if you have any questions going forward, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll be glad to address them with you. The document that I provided, the auditor's discussion analysis, again, is very, a very broad overview of what I've just talked about. I do have some charts and graphs so you can see, revenues and expenditures and in proportion to the total. We've also included information about any recommendations and findings that we may have had. The findings primarily related to your component units, and those are, for the most part, in the process. If they haven't been corrected, will be corrected before this fiscal year end. There's also some information, as I said, about new accounting standards that are out there. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board is always busy, always wanting to change something, and so you can see what those that are in here, those that could potentially affect you. I think one of the big ones coming up in a couple of years is related to tax abatements, and there's some information included in here that may be of interest to you all. And finally, we include information related to some of the training that we provide. We try to do it quarterly. We do it just for our clients, and it's continuing education client. You can get the credit for that. And I know Brenda and Shay both have come to several of the training sessions we've offered, and if you all are ever interested, please let us know. We'll get you on the email list, and would love to have you. But we just very much appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with you all. Brenda and Shay do a fantastic job. I mean, they get us what we need, and we're able actually to finish up your audit and get it filed much sooner than a lot of clients who like to wait till December 31st, the midnight hour. And we very much appreciate that. And I know it's nice not to have it hanging over you around the holidays. So, again, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them now, or Brenda and Shay have my contact information.
Any questions or comments? We thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the first read and a public hearing to gain public input on the proposed fiscal year 2017 annual operating budget. Has the public hearing been properly advertised?
Yes, sir, it has been.
I'll ask the clerk to read the ordinance by caption.
An ordinance to adopt the fiscal year 2017 annual operating budget beginning on July 1st, 2016 and ending on June 30th, 2017. To adopt the 5-year capital improvements program. To make the budget available for inspection. To outline the adoption schedule and for other purposes.
Is anyone present who would like to make comments about or have input on the proposed budget? Again, this is the first reading of the ordinance, and we'll have it scheduled to be presented to council at the May 24th meeting for a final reading and adoption, and we will be scheduling a work session for further discussion. The next item on the agenda has been removed. City manager has requested that we defer consideration of this ordinance to a later date. I'll ask the clerk to read Resolution R 1605-011 by caption.
A resolution to authorize a memorandum of agreement with the Middle Georgia Regional Commission to design and maintain a website for the city of Milledgeville and to provide user training for employees making content updates.
Having heard the resolution, do I hear a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'll ask the clerk to read Resolution 1605-012 by caption.
To authorize a contract with Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company to provide a fireworks display during the Independence Day celebration in Milledgeville.
Having heard the resolution, do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
And that motion carries as well. The last item that we've considered tonight is Resolution R 1605-013. I'll ask the clerk to read by caption.
A resolution to authorize an intergovernmental agreement with the Oconee River Greenway Authority to administer a Department of Transportation enhancement grant to improve and extend the Oconee River Greenway and Riverwalk at Fishing Creek Community Trail Phase 3 from the Oconee River Greenway Authority along the north bank of Fishing Creek to Central City Park.
You've heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
That motion carries as well. That concludes bids we needed to consider tonight. I wanted to make one comment as we wind this down. We're extremely excited here about the confirmation of Sparta Industries officially coming to Milledgeville. I'd like to first applaud the efforts of Matt Pointer and the members of the Economic Development Authority team for putting this together. Sparta Industries is expected to create over 1,000 jobs over the next 5 years. This is a huge win for our community. When coupled with the roughly 500 jobs created at Central State by the end of 2016, it is obvious that the leadership in this community is making a strong impact on job opportunities and the local economy. So I just appreciate all their efforts, and I would hope that when someone is seen in public, you'd let them know how you feel. Any other comments or discussion? There being no further business to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned.